So, welcome to another episode of School of Noble Thoughts show. And today I have got uh, Troy M.Smith, a native of Knoxville, Tennessee, currently resides in Nashville with his wife, Adrienne, and two children, Duke and Kaiya. He's a graduate of Tennessee State University, where he received his Bachelor of Science in Speech Communications, Theater, and his MED, Master of Education in Administration and Supervision. Troy's trade of business is in the financial industry, and he's a serial entrepreneur, being the founder of MostMoto and CEO owner of TMSocks. He is well known for his entrepreneurial traits in developing companies and serving the educational community as a motivational speaker and a leader, building the mindset and confidence of future entrepreneurs. One notable company Troy has developed is Troy Manson Signature Socks, TMSocks, which has been featured in several publications. Troy is the founder of the motivational brand MostMoto, a community that encourages and edifies individuals to live life to its fullest potential by changing the way they think. Troy loves taking long walks on the beach. Within the brackets, he writes, he really doesn't, but he always wanted to say that in his bio. That's just a side note. So, not withholding anymore, let me welcome Troy Smith to the show.
Woo,
Welcome, Troy.
yeah.
How are you today?
Oh, well, how are you this evening where you are? Good evening to you.
Thank you, Troy. It has been thank you so much for coming up and at the shortest invitation. I know you're a very busy man with lots of responsibilities and with the young children and your entrepreneurial efforts. Tell us something about your life. How has been your journey? Where were you born? Your childhood? Where did it start? Everything.
Definitely, Darpan. I'll tell you this. So, like you mentioned, born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville, Tennessee, small city in Tennessee in general. But my upbringing is over in the States. We have a dilemma when it comes down to single parent households. And fatherless households. And my brothers and I grew up to a teenage mother. She had me when she was 15 years old. So, and that was unmarried. It was different if you were married, I guess, at that age and do in time periods. But single parent, 15-year-old teenager having children, and so we had to learn things pretty fast. I grew up pretty quick, so it's a lot of things I may have experienced as a young man that individuals may not have experienced in their whole life just yet. And I experienced a lot of things in my adolescent years and teenage years where when I got to the point at 15 years old, which is interesting. At 15 years old myself, I had my own pregnancy scare, thinking I was going to be basically an old chip off the block, and have a child myself in the teenage years. And thankfully I did not. And it had me start really realizing, what am I actually here for? I started thinking about what am I doing? Am I just going to do the same cycle, or am I going to do something different? And and at 15 years old, I started realizing I need to get myself together. So that's crazy at 15.
But why did you have that at 15? Let me take you back. What was your parent, your mom? What did she do for the living to raise you up?
Well, as she rose up, she just worked in coming up. So my mom had 3 kids. Growing up, she worked where she could, in order to provide. So she didn't have any career. She just worked at fast food restaurants, worked delis, stuff like that, to where when we started, it was all about us, by raising us and make sure we got what we needed. As she got older, she got into the healthcare field of doing taking care of individuals with had needs, special needs.
Right.
So she did. That was her 30 years of experience doing that. After we started getting to the point where we were going to school ourselves, take care of herself in the sense where she had to worry about
So
us so much.
you went to school, didn't you?
Yes, I went to. Yeah, we all went to. My mom preached the importance of, excuse me, going to
Education.
school, get education. She preached the importance of education. Get your education because she didn't have one. She dropped out of school in the 9th, 10th grade, so she didn't have that education. So she just started to show us this importance. So we graduated high school, and then I was the only one to go to college, graduate, and then also to go back to school, get my master's degree. And then the
Right.
very first one to ever think about getting a doctoral. I'm working on my doctoral in business administration now. So that's far outpaced what I ever thought about in my own life. And growing up, I only thought doctors could be in a doctor's coat or a hospital coat. I didn't know you can be a
Right.
doctor or expert in a different field. So just to answer your question, grew up in the inner city, the slums, as you would say. I don't know. It was the poor place. We grew up in a poor area.
I can imagine. I mean, like I fully can understand, correlate to that. I am born in India, and I fully understand what is a slum and what is poverty. Yeah. So,
Well, I tell you what though, Darpan, I think you might have had it rougher though. I mean, my wife actually went over to India to train individuals in the healthcare field, and she's
yes,
seen it firsthand from where you really start to
yes.
realize how good you actually may have it.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. Yeah, so you can, I
yeah.
mean, we're just talking about the slums of the first world country and the slums of the third world country.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
that's
yes,
the
yes. A
only difference.
whole different ball game.
But yeah, but I mean, I was personally, I didn't live in slums myself. I belong to a middle class family. My father was a defense officer, but
Mhm.
I mean, we did see the poverty in the society. We did
Yeah,
see in the country. So this is not
right.
something that we felt directly on our skin, but we do appreciate and do understand what poverty
Uh-huh.
is. Yeah. I mean, it is something
What part?
if you go to some, to some I don't know, Santa Barbara or Monte Carlo or some places, where
Uh-huh.
you have richness around, and even in western part of the world, even in Europe, you'll find many such places are there, cities are there. uh, People can talk, they can listen about poverty, but they do not understand that because they have not seen in the real thing. So
Right.
I can fully imagine. I mean, what it could be. Yeah. And so that makes it all the more interesting to me. That makes it all the more interesting.
Now let
What
me ask
was
you this,
the
Darpan.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What part of India were you from?
I'm from Delhi. I was born in Delhi.
Okay. Is that the same as New Delhi, or is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Like Delhi is the
Okay.
old Delhi, and New Delhi is the new. So it was just divided. So later on,
Got it.
as it developed, it was started being called as New Delhi.
So my wife went to New Delhi to do the training, right? So, and she has plenty of video footage and all that where literally her hotel was like 5-star. Like she had her own driver, all that type stuff. And
Which year
literally
did
next,
she, which year
go
was
ahead.
that? Which year
In
did she go?
2000, and we got married in 2007. So in 2007, she went to New Delhi in 2007.
Okay,
No, no,
now
I'm sorry. We got married. We
yeah.
got married. I'm sorry. We got married in 2008. So she went to New Delhi in 2008. Yeah, for 2
Okay,
weeks. And
right.
literally next door, you have a big hotel, and next door was just straight slum. Like it was bad. Like
It
it's
is,
just
it is. Yeah,
crazy how
yeah.
you see
There are
big
some
house,
places. Yeah,
no house. Yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely. I fully. I mean, there are sadly it is that, but government is doing a lot big way. India's economy is growing. Yeah, it's an upcoming economy. Lots of work, but we have a huge population,
yes,
and there are governmental issues. Yeah, like every country. So
right,
I mean, you can imagine. Well, I mean, right now you also have the changes in the government happening. Yeah, so
right.
it's. But coming back to you, I would.
Mhm.
What was the like? I can understand. Yeah, so it was a tough time. 3 kids. Yeah, mom is working, helping you. Yeah, and she was a single mom. You said without your
Yes,
dad, right?
right.
So
Even though I know my dad. I know him. We used to actually live in the same inner city or
they
slum
just separated.
housing.
Yeah.
Right, but separate. Just he lived down the street with his own. My dad ended up he had 16 kids. So
16. I got it. Yeah.
16, 1-6.
So you have
And
lots
that's
of lots of
siblings.
extended family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, but I'd always knew something different though about myself. That I always knew that I was here to do something totally different, and I had to change the way that I thought. Even though you may be raised in the slums or raised in the inner city, I started thinking about, but just because I'm there doesn't mean I have to actually see it as being there
Stay
in a
there.
negative way.
Stay there.
So,
True.
in the inner cities here in Tennessee, they had like gates around the perimeter. So those
Mhm.
gates was either to keep you out or keep a person in, right? But I started thinking about as I was growing up though, Darpan, is that you know what? Everywhere I mean, as I was growing up, everybody wanted to be in a gated community. So I just had to change the way that I thought, you know.
Right.
So when I started thinking about it, hey, I'm in this so-called prison, but I'm actually in a gated community. Like I can change the way that I think and how my outlook would look. Um, I never had to cut my own grass. They had the public service,
Yeah.
like the city cutting the grass, but I never had to cut my grass. So basically, in a sense, I had my own lawn care service. I mean, it's a lot of different things how I looked at things and started making me see things a little bit different to where it wasn't
Yeah.
always so bad. And oftentimes, as a kid growing up with nothing, you have to learn how to imagine, right? You have to learn how to imagine things and see things as
True.
though they're not, but as you want them to actually be. So as I got older, I got into sports. Sports really helped me out a whole lot to be able to see a lot of different things. I played American football. So it allowed me to be able to see different places, get to know different people, different nationalities and ethnicities that I wouldn't see every day. Coaches that end up being like father figures to me that really
Right.
took me in, and just
So
showed me
so
different things.
I'll just interrupt you. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you got your first go at what age? It was 15 years, you said? The first push you had that I have to change. I don't want to live in this gated
Yeah.
society. I want to
Yeah.
come out of it. Yeah. When did
Right.
that happen? When did that
Well,
happen?
that's always been there from day one.
Day
But
one.
in regards to how I would do things differently by making decisions, because one bad decision, Darpan, can change your whole life. Like I had friends that was criminals. They were drug dealers, drug peddlers. They was stealing, doing a lot of things that end up. If I decided to do that, my life could have went a
Mhm.
whole different direction. So
Yeah.
I decided to stay out of trouble and get into sports and actually do things differently. So through middle school and I mean through elementary, middle school, high school was the age where I decided to, at 15, I need to stop doing um making decisions that could actually change my life in regards to having a small family at 15 years old. That's what I had to change. I already thought from a young age, I don't want to live in this surroundings. I want to be somewhere
Right.
better. I want to be there for my kids when I get older. I want to actually
Right.
buy my mom a house, that type stuff. So that's been there since day one. When I noticed
Mm.
I wouldn't get what I want, I need to be able to, go a different direction to get what I want to see in life. So that was from 15 years old on. I mean, that's from day one. 15 years old, I decided I need to stop getting into premarital type sex. Let's be honest about it. That's what it was. Doing things I need to be doing in that
Yeah.
direction.
Usually, I mean, I've seen how much I have spoken with different, from different level of successful people like yourself today. And what I've seen, I mean, irrespective of from where you're coming, I mean, it could be from the east, from the west, from any part of the world, there has
Mm-hmm.
been a point of pain always, which
Mm-hmm.
had made them, there was something which was so, I mean, obviously, financial life struggles and all that, they millions of people they have that, Troy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there are few who really get to tackle with it. They want to change, make the change out of it, and be obviously for themselves, but at later on some stage of their life, I mean, you could go and get a job of 9 to 5 and have a secured life and just don't worry about all these things what you're doing. Yeah. But you had some urge within you
Mm-hmm.
to do it for myself, and as a result change the effect also on the people around. Yeah. So was there any particular incidents in your life that happened,
Oh, I'm gonna be honest with
which you always remember, that was the
you. Yeah,
cause of the thing which made you, okay, I
right.
have to do it in any way? What was that?
Well, I tell you,
Did you have
what, Dar.
anything like that?
No, Darpan, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't had no life altering like, oh my God, this is why. No, man, I'm gonna tell you, I've been fortunate enough to have a mother growing up from my. They always taught. She was 15 years old to think differently. Like it's not, just because you're doing certain, just because you're from the projects, don't mean you have to look like you're from the project. Don't mean you have to talk or sound like it. It may have took time for me to understand that, but yeah, we had moments where there was maybe dire that we didn't have. Sometimes we never went without. That's one thing my mother made sure, even though she was getting paid $3 an hour back in the early
Yeah,
90s.
yeah,
She just made it work to where we had to get it done. I didn't have a life altering decision of where, besides the fact of knowing that the decisions that I made were important. My decisions that I make impact not just me, but everyone. My mother, I was the oldest of three. So
okay.
yeah, I was the oldest of three children for her, the third from oldest for my 16 on my father's side. And I know that there's other people looking at me to set the example. I noticed that long before. And I started learning a lot. That's the fact of what I do don't just affect me, it affects everyone else. The decision I make today would set the course of my life tomorrow. That's the honest truth. I mean, so when it comes down to a dire part of like, man, I didn't. But I tell you this though, I always wanted to be successful, meaning what success looked like to us normally is money, right?
Right,
When you grow up
right.
with no money or not much at all, you say, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. How can I get rich? What's the next? So I thought about, I want to go to the NFL, the National Football League. I said, okay, I
Like
get become,
everybody, yeah.
yeah, I want to be a national football. So then I said, okay, I want to be a rapper. So I was a hip hop artist for a little while. None of those things panned out for me, right?
Right,
So I
right.
was like, so if it's not something I got to do to entertain someone, what's next? How can I get rich?
What
So
are
the
the
older I,
resources you have? Yeah.
yeah, so the older I got, the more I started realizing, but what does success look like to me, Darpan?
So
What does success?
did you finish the school?
Oh yeah, I got my I finished school. Yeah,
You finished the school that time. I mean,
yeah.
just didn't leave the education and then went out for this and then came back to education. So there
Bro,
was
so
no
just like
gap.
the
There
no,
was
no,
no
so like
gap.
the bio, so like when you read the bio, I graduated my undergrad from Tennessee State
No, no, no,
University.
no. What I meant to say, I mean, I didn't mean that you didn't finish. I
Oh,
mean, what I meant to say, there was no gap because of that.
no, no gap, no.
Sometimes you go and try some things. Like
Yeah,
I had a
no.
gap in my life. I had a gap
Okay.
in my life, yeah, because I was not happy with certain things I was doing, so I had to take a gap off. But that was a
Mm.
well planned gap, I would say. But
Yo.
it was not a struggle, yeah. But
Uh-huh.
people do that. So in your case, you had the trouble. You were going through this 15 years rough life, and then you want to, you know that you have got people behind you. You got younger sister, younger brother, young siblings are there. What did you do after the school? I mean, you finished the school. Then what next? What
No, when
that must be the pivotal point, right?
no,
What
no,
are you
no.
doing?
So let me make sure I understand this too. I didn't have a point of where it wasn't a moment of well, as I was going through that scare of am I gonna have a child at 15 years old? I was still doing what I had to do by going to school, playing football. Nothing stopped.
Okay.
Fortunately,
Hmm.
fortunately, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to where I was able to learn on the fly quickly compared to you do something and then you got to really take another detour and then come back. I've been fortunate enough to where that wasn't an issue to move forward. I mean, and that's contributed to my mother. I mean, I've seen where she had to go through and stay determined and stay focused because the thing that she did didn't just affect her; it affected me and my two younger brothers. You know,
Absolutely.
so I ended up being the father of my household at the age of 3 years old. This is what's cool about my mother one day as I gotten older now, and she told me, you're the man I always wanted, right? The man I always the father figure to her because
Proud
she
moments.
raised the person that she wanted to have as a male figure in her life.
Right.
That's a huge thing to me, where she like so she basically created like this is what I would like a good man to look like, a good husband to be like to his wife, a good father to be to his children. that's who I end up becoming, my brothers and I, which that's awesome for her because she get to see what she created go forth to do what it's supposed to do. So,
Right.
and that's why I'm grateful for it. I was able to learn things so quick, so fast on the fly to where I didn't have to worry about taking big detours to be, okay, now let's get back to the major script.
Right.
So, but like I want to go back to the fact of the mindset though. I started to learn the older I got because I always wanted to be rich. Rich is all relative to the person.
Right.
Wealthy is all relative to the meaning to the person. So I started to learn. I had to discover what success looked like to me personally.
True.
And I started to notice. I started noticing that success to me, it looks totally different to what I thought before when I was younger, and what it may look like to you, right?
What
And
did
that's
it
where
look
I
like
started.
what did it look like to you when you were younger?
When I,
Success.
when I was younger, success means nice cars,
Nice
beautiful
cars.
women, a big
Lots of
house,
money. Good house. Yeah.
lots of money. But a lot of people that I was noticing, I seen through the research of mine through life, was they were miserable. Now I'm not saying that money is bad. I'm just saying the folks that had it all, you thought you like, man, you're in a worse situation than I am. Like I had people that I went to school with that had fathers in their household. They grew up with their dad and mom in the same house, but they never liked going home. Like they're wanting to be living the way that I lived with a single parent household in the inner city, the
Right.
slums, and they're living in a nice home themselves. Their house is a wreck because not only just because they were there physically doesn't mean they were there spiritually or mentally. Same thing with money. Although you may have the money you may need, but it's not keeping you grounded as an individual. So I started learning the fact about the mindset of successful thinking is what's most important, and finding and discovering what
So
success looks like to you.
how did you do that? What was the first thing you did on this journey?
I started looking back at all the things that my mother and coaches taught me over time. What successful people actually do. They actually start to carry themselves in a way that's different from everyone else. For example, they took education seriously because the older you get, the more wealthier you get, the more you want to learn more. The older you get, you start to learn, I don't know enough.
True.
And it's not
That's
just
true.
education. It's not just education, Darpan, in the traditional sense in the school four-wall setting. I'm talking about learning more about your history, about yourself, your culture, learning more about what actually benefits you, those type of things of education, not just the regular arithmetic and
True.
things like that. I started realizing the importance of appearance because for a long time, I looked like where I came from. So
Right.
if I'm from the slums, I look like I lived in the slums. But I started noticing the more
Yeah.
the way I change and carry myself and how I appear, people may take me differently and take me more serious the way that I carry myself.
Absolutely. That's
And
how it
then,
is.
I start realizing too, the two most important currencies in life, Darpan, are time and relationships. I started realizing that the relationships got me places that money could not buy me ever. I can have all the
Yeah.
money in the world and still not have access to the president or the governor or the prime minister. But if I have the right relationship, they can get me in the door regardless how much money I have.
So was it any book you read, or was it some film you saw? Who was your idol at that 15 years? What is Michael Jordan?
Mm.
Or I don't know who was the idol? I mean,
I know.
yeah,
So this interview, I know this
yeah,
interview might be the interview may be a little different for you because I didn't have an idol. I didn't look up to nobody in the sense of I want to be like Michael Jordan, right?
or
Uh,
I don't know. Any
I got you. Yeah,
successful,
yeah.
yeah,
My thing is I'm like a journeyman. I've been a journeyman my whole life in the sense of I take a little bit from here, I borrow a little bit from there, and then I apply it to me. And then I try to make sure I'm the better person that I can be every day. I've always been, and it's interesting that you bring this up because I'm thinking about it now. I've always been a leader. I've always been a leader to where I
so you
set the
had that
example.
within you. You had that within you,
Yeah,
right? From the
yeah.
beginning.
You come out. That means like my mother, right? She always taught us too. We actually set the tone instead of worried about following somebody else. So that's why it's tough to be like, hey, I want to be like, so I want to be just like that guy. I never did. And then older I've gotten, the more I realize I don't want to be like Darpan,
You
right? I'm
don't
gonna tell
have
you,
to be. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, right.
absolutely.
Because what
Fully
happened?
agree with you.
Because guess what happens is that I don't know what Darpan took to get where he's at. So the more I try to get to what someone has, the more I start realizing I don't want to go through that. So the competition has always been within myself. That's the honest
Be
truth.
better. Be better every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let every day be a better than you were yesterday.
Right.
I've got a friend. He is developing this community, and the name of the community here in UK, and the name of the community is "Be Better Every Day Than You Were Yesterday." So every day, do a little bit, but be better.
Right.
So,
But you mentioned
when
what book did I read? You mentioned what book did I read? I read a book called Not Think and Grow Rich, but a book called I Think and I Grew Rich. So meaning it's a guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, an insurance guy here out of Middle Tennessee that read that book. He was more of he read the book called Think and Grow Rich. And then he wrote the book I Think and Grew Rich. And I read that because I've always thought, I've never read motivation books or nothing like that before until I read this book.
You have never read?
No, not then, which
At
was
that
like
point
in
of time.
2000. Yeah, it was 2012. I never read a motivational book ever, but I always been motivated.
How old were you in 2012?
Yeah, I've been in banking. So yeah, I was in banking. So what happened is I was happened to be at work. I was what's it now? 22. So I was like early. I was 30 years old.
And
30.
you didn't read. So you didn't read anything about motivational speaking and
None of
Okay.
that because so I was talking to a customer of mine. I was doing private banking, investment banking at the time, and this was crazy. I was never into math like that, and I never thought I'd be working in the financial industry in my life.
Yeah.
So I just happened to stumble upon that opportunity through a relationship that got me a job in finance. That's how that happened. So in 2000, let me go back up. In 2008, I got married to my wife, who I've been married to now for 16 years. And before I got married, I was in grad school doing education. I was trying to work in education. I found out education not going to be the way to get me money. Education is more of a calling.
That's happened when you finish your Masters of Education, is it?
Yeah.
So you finished your education and you got the job. What was the first job you had after that?
That job. Now I've had plenty of jobs, but the job going into my career that I'm in, I've been in for almost 20 years.
I'm just curious, what jobs did you do after your education?
Okay, let's go. So the jobs I did growing up, I worked at fast food restaurant, Burger King, stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, like every student does it.
Like every student, right? Yeah. My first career job wasn't until I was 25. And I worked in Wells Fargo. I was at finance then.
Okay.
So I called a friend in 2008, said, I need a job. I'm about to get married. I need a job. Right. And he said, well, I don't know if you want to do this. I said, well, look, give me an interview and I'll take it from there.
Yes.
I got the interview. Next thing you know, I'm in it. And I started going from doing that to I got into doing private banking. So I was talking private banking, which I was doing investments and bonds and all that, stocks and bonds, all that stuff.
So you were selling it. Were you selling bonds and all?
Yes.
So you were doing those cold calling sort of thing, is it?
No, so I didn't have to do all. I was a junior broker, so I had a guy that I bring the clientele. I was a relationship manager, so I managed the relationships.
Right.
So I make sure that so when he make a sale, I get paid too, right? So I'm sitting down with this customer doing an annual review, and he used to be a ghostwriter, so he wrote books for people. Okay. And he took to my charisma, and I was telling him about how I'm writing a book. This book here called The Mindset of Successful Thinking. I don't see if you can see it yet. Somewhere in there. There we go.
We'll put it up I'll put it in the show notes when we put it alive.
I was telling him I had an idea about writing a book. And I told him about the book, an idea about it, but I was like, I don't know what direction to go. I haven't started writing yet or whatever. And he said, you know what? I'm going to bring you a book and I'll let you read it because you remind me of this guy, which is the dude named Randall Baskins. He said, you remind me of this guy, and I want you to read this book. I said, sure. He brought the book to me. I just set it on my desk, never thought about it again. Yes. So what happened is
what was the book called?
It's called I Think and Grew Rich. I think and
grew rich. Yeah.
Right.
So that book is it still available? It's in the market?
It probably is. If you look up Randall Baskins,
Randall Baskins.
Pop up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was an insurance big time insurance agent here in Middle Tennessee. He actually got school buildings buildings at the university named after him and all that stuff. So
Right.
we had another annual review coming up the next year, right? So
Yeah.
so I can be aware, and so I can say I read this book. I said, let me read a couple pages, so when he come next time, I'll be able to give him some type of, oh, he read it. But let me tell you this though, Darpan, I read it and I couldn't put it down because
Is it?
that guy sounded exactly like me. You know how
Is
he
it?
thought, and I was like, man, there's people out there that think like me, like this. I mean, he thought he was from a background that was financially unstable, all that type of stuff. He became someone.
The normal scenario, yeah. Everybody has.
Right.
Yeah. So
But this
the
was interesting
hustle
though.
path. Yeah.
But this was interesting. So in the United States, they got this thing with the racial barriers. They probably got this everywhere. But racial, if you're white, you got something else going. Just like in India, my wife was telling me, the lighter you
Big
are.
way, man. Big way. Big way. Big way. It's a huge. I mean, India has been for generations. We had the caste system, so the one caste cannot. So it has been a huge. We do know what is discrimination.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
but so this guy, he motivated you. Yeah, he gave you that book to read. Is it?
Well, not him. The guy that wrote the book for him.
Okay.
So
the
the guy
who wrote the book for him.
Yeah, his name is Rob Simbeck, a good friend of mine now. He wrote the book.
Okay.
He's a ghostwriter writer with the guy to tell his story.
And his name was put on. Randall Baskin's name was he officially published as author. Is it?
Yeah, Randall Baskin is who the book is about. He wrote.
Right. Okay. Got it. Right.
So, but the guy that helped him write the book is who I met as a customer of mine.
Okay.
And so when he came back to do that review,
right,
I was like, hey man, I not only read that book, I read the whole thing. And I was so excited to talk to him about what I read. Yes. He was so excited about it that he actually had me meet the guy. So I got to go meet Randall.
Right.
And Randall and I sat there and I just told him about his own life.
So okay.
And he was like, he was so thrown off. I mean, excited about it. He actually cried a little bit like, man, I mean, that because he impacted me so much. Right. That's when I knew I need to read more in that same genre because there's people out there that think exactly like me. So I guess to answer your question, where it all came about, my mind change officially.
I think that was, so this was the pivotal moment, I think.
That's the pivotal moment where I seen there were people that was like me.
When you met this guy, this Randall Baskin, and you saw something common in between the book you read and yourself. So what was that common thing, right? I mean, what was that common thing?
The common thing is that he had the same mentality as I did by, you march by, you go by the beat of your own drum, but you got to understand the importance of relationships, the importance of understanding that it's more than just you out there just, want to make things happen. There's other people that think just like you. So he mentioned books in his book, like the Think and Grow Rich, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, of course.
Then it started after that. It started
how to influence friends and win people. I just started just a slew
of books. I've got that.
Open up. So after that,
I bought the teens for teens. I bought for my daughter. She read it and she left it back to me. So it's still lying there. If you would see the 7 habits of influential teens.
Yes.
That was Stephen Covey.
Yes.
I mean, these books, we all read them, right? I mean, so it all started for you from that time, 30 years old, 32 years old, that range.
That started. I realized right there at that point, because I was still in that rat race of making millions. What success looked like to me is always about having as much money as you can get, have a nice car, blah blah blah. And then I learned from that moment from Rob Simbeck, who introduced me to this guy and other people, it's relationships. I would have never met Randall. I would have never met people like Cal Turner, whose family owned Dollar General. I would have never met none of these people that's billionaires or 100 millionaires or whatever, let's say, and sat at the table with them, talk with them, have them in my cell phone, if it wasn't for relationships.
You got the chance.
Yeah, no money, and it wasn't for the right time and in the right place to line up this, and that, to where it started to turn around. I started realizing, oh, money is much deeper, or success is much deeper than having a lot of money.
Yes.
It's all about relationships to get you in the right place at the right time to open up the ultimate doors. Because like this right here, I started going back to throughout my whole life. Anything significant that's happened in my life was based off of a relationship I had. The woman I married was based off a relationship from a mentor of mine. My
From
wife, huh?
from your wife you met through?
No, my wife, a mentor of mine, introduced me to my wife.
Who is it? Wow.
Yeah. So
So
that's
that's
how.
so cool.
But I would have, if I would have tried to go talk to my wife on my own, I would have never got to.
Who was your mentor? What
I
was
was a
his name?
mentor of my guy named DeAndre Jackson. Man, he's a guy that was in my life when I was in high school. He
Oh,
came
you
along
had
when I was like,
so from the high school. Okay, so we are going back now. So
yeah.
you did have a mentor in your high school.
Oh, so when not in my high school, as my age, someone that was a part of a program I was a part of that ended up being a mentor of mine.
Oh, okay, so it was a
Yeah.
school program, yeah.
Yeah, so from the school. So like I said in the past, I had coaches, football coaches and people like that were actually speaking to me to be a father figure in a sense. So DeAndre is like a big brother to me, So he's a part of an organization called Young Life. So Young Life is a organization here locally that, or in the States, where they do Christian basement it's Christian based ministry deal for high school students. And
Oh,
I met him through that. And next thing you know, we just been clicked and been tight since I was 17. I'm 42 now. So
right.
he actually him and his wife introduced me to my wife. Right.
Right.
The career that I'm in came from a relationship. And the
True.
jobs I've had within this career came from a relationship.
True.
No money,
True.
no
True. True.
interviews like that. No, I didn't have to go apply. They came to
Yeah.
me.
So
So relationships mean a lot.
what you met with Randall Baskin? What happened after that?
I mean, I came out
So
with a book.
what change did you find in yourself? What were the changes you after reading this book? So like there has to be some chemistry going through, right? After that,
Oh
you
yeah.
did. Yeah. So what? I'm just curious. I mean, how did it change you? I
Then
mean,
the enlightenment was that and I'm gonna make this clear. I know it sounds so basic and plain. I found a tribe of individuals that think like me. There's nothing like community. Community is great because when you have community, you find out there's individuals that think like you that want to go in the same direction. So
true.
Randall is someone who actually wanted to make sure his life meant something to benefit those around him in a positive way. So look, this is what I believe, Darpan. I believe I'm here to inspire, edify, and encourage people to be better than they were 5 minutes ago before they met me. Inspire, edify, and encourage. I started realizing that I'm here for only a certain amount of people. I'm not here for everyone, right? But why I am here, when you do meet me, I want to impact you in the most positive way to be like, man, I don't know what that was, but whatever he got, I have to get.
So
Do
what
you
did you
understand?
do? What did you do at that point of time? That's what I'm curious about. When you met with Randall Baskin, and it made some impact on you, made a change on your life. Apparently, then that's how your journey started. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as we understood that was a pivotal moment for you. You had
Mm-hmm.
on and off coaches, and in the school you had programming, and you had some, I mean, like everybody, yeah. But your journey, basically, what I can see, understand is that when you were in this brokerage as a junior relationship manager, whatever at that level, and then you got introduced to Randall Baskin. Yeah, his book inspired you. You read the book. So what did you do after that? After reading the book, I mean, you got some inspired, and you might have taken some action, isn't it?
Yeah, the action was the fact that I start putting pieces together what success looked like to me.
So
My mind
it gave
shifted.
you clarity. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
gave
gave
you
me
clarity.
clarity of understanding that success to me is the fact to make sure what am I doing to make sure success, what does it mean to me? To me, success is being there for my family and be able to
At
do
that,
what I
so that okay, that time it was for you that time, yeah. The definition
yeah.
of success at that time, you're saying that it was your family, is it?
I started seeing that I want to be able to do things when I want, how I want, with whoever I want. And the way you get to that point is to actually start realizing that I got to do what's actually what I'm programmed to do. That is, hey, I'm still doing my job. So let's make sure we understand I'm still doing my career of doing banking, right? Finance. But I start
Yes.
realizing how my finance role is still is going down the same direction of my personal life goals.
True. I
Like
mean, you basically you got enlightenment,
yeah,
like
yeah.
like Buddha got in enlightenment in Buddhism.
Hmm.
Buddha was enlightened. So there are people in the world who are enlightened.
Hmm.
Mahatma Gandhi was enlightened. Yeah, he had a mission, right? Nelson Mandela had an enlightenment. He had a mission, right?
Hmm.
People have enlightenment. Some people they just carry on with their life, whole their life, and they just do
Hmm.
not know. They do their 9 to 5 job, go to a pub, and the weekend they just wait for the weekend, and then
Oh man,
and
far
then
from that.
money
Yeah.
earn, money spent, money earn, and then that's life. Yeah.
No.
Few are enlightened, and you got that inspiration
Yes.
at that time, and then you carried on with your job or the brokerage, or you
Yeah.
shifted.
Oh, yeah. Still, so I carried on. I still do. I mean, so what I do now, I'm in mortgage. So mortgage lending. So what I learned in banking too is different aspects of banking, right? You got the regular depository, you got the investments, you got commercial lending, then you have residential home lending. So that's what I do at this time. But I stayed in the financial realm of doing things. But the enlightenment, let's keep it there. I like that. Enlightenment. I was enlightened to understand there's, like I said before, there's people that think like me. I understood the
Yes.
importance of time, and I
Yeah.
understood the importance of relationships.
Right.
You're right. So that enlightenment came to the time, the
Mhm.
relationships, and most important, that community. I started realizing how important a community is. So in that, I still do my work, but then I start writing my book called The Mindset of Successful Thinking, because that was the thing that I started realizing success is all relative to the person.
Right.
If you want to be successful,
How old were you when you started writing the book? I mean, how many
so
years passed? How many years passed by?
I started writing. So I talked to Rob, that's the customer, uh, and then he introduced me to Randall. I was inspired, got enlightened, and I started realizing what success means to me. I started writing that book in 2016 or 17.
Oh, so
But
that was that was I mean about that was, and you met with him in 2008. You said, is it?
no. I met him around 2012, 2004, no, 2014. 2014, I
Okay,
met
so
him.
after a couple of years,
Yeah,
you went into, so you decided to write a book.
yeah, yeah. Which
Ju-
I wrote. This book is very thin. It's not. You talking about two bathroom
no,
breaks
no,
and be done.
I'm definitely, I do trust you. What you
No,
have written there, and we are going to put that up.
no.
Most,
What I'm saying is, it's very. I'm making a point. It's very thin, right? So
yeah,
I wrote majority of everything in literally 9 months. The chapter procrastination,
9 months.
yeah,
You wrote that by your hand, right? No,
yeah, by
not.
my hand. Not,
I mean, we are
this is
talking
me.
of, yeah. So that was not artificial intelligence. Nothing. You did it the
No,
hard
no,
work
this
yourself,
no,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
we are talking of
So
2015,
so
16.
this is
Yeah.
the point. The point is, I wrote it in 9 months. I got to the chapter procrastination, and I stopped, and and I procrastinated.
You procrastinated at that time.
And I procrastinated for a whole year. Do you hear what
For
I'm
whole
telling you?
year.
A
For
whole
whole.
year.
Yeah, I can imagine. It has happened with me so many years, mate. I cannot tell
Yeah,
you. I mean, I can
yeah.
fully correlate to that.
I, I wrote the book. I was pumped up, and I stopped, and I didn't write. So the book finally published in 2018. So 2018, when
2018.
the book came out in 2018,
Yeah.
and then I started the motivational group
Speaking.
MostMoto.
MostMoto. Okay.
That's where I started that. That's so in the in the US, we got all type of things going on. We got a regular job, we got a side hustle, you got another, you got all these type of different things going on, right?
It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. It's not only in the
Okay.
United States. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think United States was a pioneer in teaching the world of the concept of side hustle and second jobs.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I would agree with that 100%.
But what's
And
most important, I'm making sure that what I do
yeah,
ties into what everything comes together.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So you are still continuing being a mortgage broker.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
you just changed the, but you were all this time, all your career, you have been with the finance industry,
Yes,
just
yes.
changing the streams of it. Yeah.
Right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right.
So and you had this superpower enlightenment, I would say, which kept you going, writing the book, and then you thought, yeah, book is a good thing. I've put across my ideas for the world, and now I should go and preach it. Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it's about. So MostMoto is where that came about, to where I always thought about the importance of having a product, right? And something that you can put into the world that no one can take back from you. And that's where the book
Absolutely.
came
I mean,
from, of
that's,
sharing
yeah,
your
nobody
ideas.
can take that, right?
Yeah. So that's where that came from, to where the book was published. Most motos where I'm basically preaching that out, preaching that message of the mindset of successful thinking, having the thought process of being better, as you said, improving yourself every day, being a better you all the time, and helping people. Ooh, I like this, helping people as you keep stressing and pulling out, which I'm grateful for you pulling these things out, because I never thought about it from as an enlightenment standpoint. I never thought about that as the term enlightenment. I thought about it. Yeah, I learned about it after I read this, but I never looked at it as a point that when that light bulb went off, as that was an enlightenment period. You know,
Yes. Yes.
and that's where I'm trying to help other people find and
You were
discover what their enlightenment are.
you were just not aware of it. You were
Yeah.
not aware of it, so it was like we can carry on with the stuff, of the life, and we are not aware of it. I
Hmm.
mean, I am sitting here on Saturday evening and trying to think about Mr. Troy Smith somewhere in US. I'm sitting in south of England, and I'm thinking about how did this man become what he is today,
Hmm.
and I have to find time for it. Yeah. So this is, we called it addiction. Yeah. I
Hmm.
got this. How did it start for me? I just kept reading. 13 years back, I started personal development arena. Yeah. So, and this is how, I mean, today I'm sitting and I'm curious about that man, that man, that man. I mean, I could be a happy man drinking a couple of beers in a pub right now, right? I can
Hmm.
afford to do that. Yeah, but I have to talk to you. And so this is called the next stage, I think, in my opinion, enlightenment and addiction to it. Yeah. So you
Hmm.
get an idea, you get an inspiration, and then you get addicted. You do more and more and more and more. That's what you did, I think, in my opinion, in my humble
Yeah, for
opinion.
sure.
Yes, you did that. You wrote the book. Then you started inspiring people. You became a
Hmm.
motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And now,
I'm looking
once
forward, but Darpan, I want to know how did you come across even knowing, or I want to hear your story a little bit now of knowing. How'd you get from India, even though you're middle class, go to UK, and then how did we come about?
Yeah, I mean, like it has been a long journey. I mean, so I've lived in Europe almost over 25 years now. So I was 20 years when I left India, and that was a story. We can have a talk on that some other other day. I mean, that's a huge long story, but the I've gone through and um, rough journey like yourselves, like everybody has. When
Mm,
you are an immigrant, it's not easy.
right.
And so, but personal development, I got inspired by personal development about 10, 12 years back. I started reading, I started following people, going to these Tony Robbins courses and all these, and they were they were happening in different cities all over
Did you go
Europe.
one? You went to one in person?
I went to one in Berlin.
How was it? How is it in person?
I mean, it's very, very. I mean, very inspiring, man. Very inspiring.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of inspiration is there, and the crowd is there. The energy is so much, that the people. And so I did the different type of events, and then I started reading books and all, and that all started. Then I started blogging about it, and then it just kept on going one after the another. Troy, one after the
The
another.
addiction came, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, no, it's sort of addiction, you will say, sort of, liking. I mean, we will say, I mean, you want to do that. So you are motivating people, and what happened then? Like 2018, you became a motivational speaker, isn't it? Yourself.
Well, I've always been a speaker all the time. I just never took it seriously to say I want to do it. So I have
Hmm.
no problem ever speaking in front of people. I've always been very easy. I've been able to talk in front of folks all the time. But I one
You were a
day,
good you were a good communicator, yeah. You were a very good
yeah, but
communicator.
yes, but 2018 is when I said I want to actually do it for real. Like get on the stage and say this is what I'm doing.
I want to do
And
it professionally. Professionally.
professionally wise, and I got a long way to go on things. That's one thing about it. You learn a lot to say that hey, you may not have it all figured out. Once you have it all figured out, you start to learn. You still don't have it figured out.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but that's what I said. I want to do that, and that's when I just started. Instead of me trying to figure out how to get in front of someone else's stage, I just created my own stage. So I just created my own community, my own network, my own folks of, like I told you before, I've never really been one to follow a lot. I've always been the one to go lead and establish, right? Uh, and that's how that happened. So that's why MostMoto came to where I'll create the stage to bring people with me, so I don't have to figure out, hey, how can I get on yours, or what can I do to get on your stage? And I just created my
Yeah.
own. So that's how that happened, and I'm excited about doing this, growing even more, and I learned more and more how community is the way, man. Community is the way to do things.
Community is the way to do the things, yeah.
But I'm still wanting to know how you came across my stuff.
Across what? Across posture. So
No, no,
I,
because come
I
across
think we
most
were, I
moto,
think we were a part of some Facebook group community, and through that I found you, and I might have. I mean, I have no. I do. It was that time when I was motivated, by this the inspiration behind, to know about the successful people, about the people who are doing, the real motivational stuff. Could
hmm
be at one of the at that time. I mean, I've been following you for 5 years now, over 5 years
that's
now.
when most moto was
Yeah, yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah,
Then,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was
so
one of the.
that's what's cool about it, man. Is where maybe I'm thinking now it's a guy over I think in UK or London, but his name is Greg.
Okay.
Um, and he was the one that helped me get exposed to international sense. So I'm wondering if you guys were a part of a group together, and that's how it happened. Because let me tell you this: you know how you said that I may not notice. I notice everybody that, believe it or not, that ever likes or be a part, because it's important to me. And I've noticed
Yes.
how you've actually liked, commented, and I'm appreciative that you even reached out to even
Definitely,
have me on your
definitely.
show.
I mean, yeah, I had to. I had to just. I was just curious because it's a total curiosity. I mean, I'm trying to find out and dissect as you grow older. So I have surpassed 50, but I am looking at the terminology of success in a different way, how I saw it in my maybe 20s and 30s. Yeah. And when in the mid 30s, maybe late 30s, when I really got interested in the personal development. And but my ideology about success is changing, Troy.
What was it before, and what is it going to now? I love
I
to hear
mean,
it.
I mean, it's absolutely like what you said. What you said,
Uh-huh.
all about money, about this, yeah, good car, good house, and well, like every young man has got. So
Mm,
one of those, all the lights and bloods of the world, you get everything, yeah. Best of the
mm.
watches, best of the shoes, best of the,
Yeah, yeah, all that
like
stuff.
everybody. But as you're growing older, you want, I mean, it's through the experience we are learning it, right? But if it would have been packaged and given to our children, yeah, you have kids, and if they
Yes,
knew it at the right time, that it's not only about this, but it is
yes.
also about this.
Uh-huh.
It's also about this. Yeah. So you're
Right.
saying, so what I'm getting from you is very powerful. You told me is the relationships. Yeah. That's such a huge thing. I mean, it's not that you got success just only because you were capable of it. There are billions and billions of people capable in the world who do not get exposure. But you got the right relationship apart with your capability, and you got that exposure, isn't it?
That's right. You
Yeah, so
summed it
that's
up the
very
best good way.
that's very important for the younger generation to know that this is also plays important role. Correct?
Yes, because everybody they want to get to it fast, and they're not realizing you're not in the right room. You know.
Yes, yeah. So now what all are you doing in your life right now? I mean, you are a motivational speaker, you are a mortgage
Lender.
entrepreneur, and you are author, and you've got multiple companies. So tell us about the multiple companies, what you're doing in that, please. I mean, share with the world, please.
Definitely. So the benefit about so I've started companies and sold them, which is a blessing. You know, have they sold for millions? No. But have they sold? Yes, that's a good idea. So like TMSocks, Troy Manson Signature Socks, which basically is my name, my middle name and first name and middle name, Signature Socks. The reason why I even came up with that sock company is because I didn't want to pay for someone else's socks. I wanted them to have my own. So that's all it come down to.
Really?
So people used to always say, "Hey man, those are nice, crazy socks you got on. Where you get them from?" And I was like, "Huh." I just come on my own so I can say, go to this website and buy them. That's the marketing part of it.
So
but I sold that company.
You created an e-commerce store, yeah?
Yes, you created an e-commerce store, started it, and sold it. Sold it
you
to a larger
you sold that business.
Yeah. And I still have ownership in it, but I sold it. So the good thing, I'm hoping someone like a large big box company come and buy them so I can get my money out of it some more. So that's one. But MostMoto, mindset of successful
So
thinking.
how do you sell it and be a owner of the company? How does that
Oh,
happen?
so I still have stock in it.
Oh, you still have the stock there.
Yeah. So I sold the company to them, but I got some shares in it still.
Some shares are there.
Right. Yeah. So just in case something happens,
so
I want to get some.
You were manufacturing yourself, or you were importing from China or India or somewhere?
Yeah, I was getting exactly. I would use Alibaba, went on that website and got me, got some, that way. MostMoto is just the motivational platform I created to where my speaking and everything goes under that platform. So anytime I speak and do anything, it's under that flagship. But then I'm a part of I'm involved with my community that I live in. I'm a part of multiple boards. So I'm very intricate. I mean, I'm very intertwined to where I live, man. So I'm not just one to say, man, this should be better. This should be done differently. I'm actually involved to say, I'm gonna help make the decision to make it better and make sure it's done differently. All right, and things like that. And I just spend time with my family, man, my wife and kids. We spend a lot of time with each other. I like to do everything with them if I can. And that's what I like about if you're working to be successful. And my book is my kids can go with me. If I want to get a private jet and I want to take them with me, they can go with me. That's what I like. I like that. I don't like, I like to take my family with me to go and experience those things together. My kids now have gone so many places on the U.S. continent to where I never got to experience till I was 18 years old. My first time ever leaving my state, I was 18 years old. My kids have gone to multiple states, and they're 9 and 8, 8 and 9. I mean, they've already been to multiple places that I've never ever seen before.
So you got two daughters, is it? 8 and 9?
I got a son and a daughter.
Son and daughter.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So
Troy
9 and 8 years, yeah.
8 and 9 years old. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's
they
got you got a whole time of a decade in front of you to give them the best, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So this was fun. This was funny. It's my son who loves building. He's going to be an architect. I'm speaking it into existence now. And my daughter loves art. She loves to draw. She loves to do creative works. But my son says things like he loves Big Ben over in the Big Ben Tower.
Yes.
The Eiffel Tower, all those type of structures like that. He's wanting to go see these things, and he's saying it not like a wish. He's saying it with an expectation. Hey, we're going to go to.
You did come to UK, yeah?
No, we're going to. We haven't yet, but when we come and you live there, I'm gonna have to reach out to you and get to meet you.
Definitely,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Do give me a shout, yeah, when you are planning to come and be my guest, man. I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy to see you. And so, um, Troy, what are the values in your life which you have, which you give importance to, which you would want your kids to have from you, or the younger generation? I mean, we can put it into 4 or 5 basic values.
I'm gonna give you one. Now I
Okay,
say this,
let's have.
I give you a couple if you want to,
Yeah,
but
just yeah, if you could. I mean, one is good, but more a merrier, you know. Yes.
that's fine. But I tell my kids this every day, every night. We say
Yeah.
success is a mindset every day, because
Success
success is a mindset,
mindset. Okay.
because they know, and they're going to remember this later on when they get older. They understand that success is a mindset every time. And I want them to understand the importance of time and relationships. Those are the two most important currencies in life. Time, you got to invest wisely because you can't get it back. So I tell them, when you got one job right now, that's to go to school. You go to
Sure.
school, finish
Yes.
school, and I'll pay you a check off of your grades. So their grades, they see that as a point of getting paid. So they don't have to
Yeah.
worry. My kids, I want them to be able to enjoy the time that they have as children. Because one thing I used to want to do, Darpan, when I was growing up, is wanting to grow up fast. And my mom used to
Sure.
always say, I don't think you want to grow up fast. And now that I'm thinking, like, you're right. I did not want to grow up fast. My
Exactly, man.
kids,
So
my
true. So
kids at
true.
7 to 8 years old need to
Same
just be,
here.
and eight,
Same
9 years
here.
old,
Yeah.
just
Now
think
you
about
say, I
in my
mean,
life.
why did I want to grow so fast? Yeah. Now you
Right.
feel, isn't it? Yeah. As the years go by, I mean, you are in 40s. I mean, by the time you hit another decade, you'll start thinking. I mean, more on those lines also. Like, why I'm getting older? You know, why can't I
Yeah.
be the other way
Yeah,
around?
exactly. You're
I
right.
wish I was. You know.
Yeah, because when I should not, at 15 years old, Darpan, I should not have been worried about having a child. At 15 years old, I should have been going to school. Not only that, I've been working since I was 14.
Yes.
Why in the world am I rushing to get a job? You know what I'm saying? At 14 years old. So that's what I mean by the importance of understanding time. At that time, I'm gonna be a child. At this time, I'm gonna be a teenager. At this time, I'll be a young adult. It's all about timing, because giving a person the wrong thing or the right thing at the wrong time is just as bad. Giving a person the right thing at the wrong time, they'll tear it up. They'll get rid of it. They'll squander it. They don't know, because they haven't had the experience to get them ready to be habits. So that's one thing. Relationships. I'm not one to burn a lot of bridges. I'm not one to burn bridges. You know, I want to make sure that those relationships can be open if needed.
Right.
So relationships to get you places that money can't buy. I learned through the Randall Baskin situation of getting to know people that, man, I could have never paid to get in that room. Not only that, I would have never been able to pay to know the mayors that I know, the leaderships in the city that I live in places I go. I have, in a sense, favor because of relationships through someone else. Your name means a lot. That's another thing. So success is the mindset. Time and relationships are important, but then also the importance of having a strong name. The Bible says it's better to have a good name than riches. That's a
Reputation.
reason for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is it reputation you are saying?
Reputation. Yeah, reputation is important. Yeah, absolutely. Your name means a lot in regards to how does Darpan talk about me when I leave the room or before I get in the room?
Right.
Has Darpan been a great ambassador of Troy, or has he been a negative influence of Troy? You know what I'm saying? That's one. And then lastly, being community. Community is important. That's the same thing with relationships, though. You go back to that. Relationships, man. You gotta make sure the relationships are strong. The community is even better, because you can go somewhere. What does that saying say? If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. But if you want to go somewhere far, go together.
Go together. Yeah.
So there you go.
Got it. All the entrepreneurs who are following, who get motivated from you, youngsters, not only more entrepreneurs, could be normal human beings, yeah.
Yes.
Just they get you motivate them. What are the values which you would want as an entrepreneur yourself? Now you started two companies. You would want for the entrepreneurs who would like to have ready from Troy Smith as a person who has done it successfully. Yeah, let's talk about your success now. We have understood. You've given your final points on the success, but you have done the journey. Yeah, you have done it. You are successful man, author, everything. How? What would be the 3, 5 things very important for you, which you should
I know
have
you like
as
you.
yeah.
I can see you like a lot of points, but I'm gonna give you two of them too. Like here go
Right.
two.
Let's do that. Okay.
Here go two. Understand the difference between management and leadership. You
Okay.
know, leadership has an internal inside to say, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
step out and lead. Management do things because they say, I'm a manager, I'm the leader. You need to do what I say. You need to make sure I'm the one, I'm the man, I'm the person that you need to follow. But I'm gonna tell you this: if you say that, if you're the person that got to say that and remind people, you're not truly the leader. You're not truly the leader or the manager that you say you want to be because you're telling people that they got to do
Right.
it.
They
I
have to
want
follow you.
people, I want people to choose to
To
say,
follow you.
I want to follow this person.
Right.
And with that being the case, if you actually let people, if people choose to follow you, like me being married to my wife and also being the father of my children, and I say this to them all the time: if I gotta say I'm the daddy, do what I say, that means they don't respect me. That's just honest to me.
True.
My
I agree.
wife, my wife and my children allowed me to be the father and leader of my household. And since they allow me to do that, then I can lead the proper way without any disgruntled people behind me or with me as we go forward. So I would tell any entrepreneur that's wanting to understand that, how can I go far? How can I be successful in business and all that? Understand the difference between management and leadership. Leaders lead from inside out. Managers just do.
Manage. They just do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. That's powerful, Troy.
And they go,
That's a
and then look, to add them other points back on, I'm gonna go right back to it. Understand the importance of relationships. Understand the importance about time, you know, because everybody's not supposed to be in your life for a
they
long
are
period of time.
they are interrelated. They are
Yeah.
interrelated. Yeah. They're all interconnected. Yeah, that's a very powerful message to any upcoming entrepreneur, I guess, also, and a younger generation. Have your kids read your book? Both of them.
They've heard about it a lot. I also got an audio version. They haven't read it all, but I mean, this book right here, surprisingly, I wrote this to my daughter. I got a message in it and everything. This is actually my daughter's copy.
Okay.
uh, but yes, but my wife read it. My family's read it. I mean, and
They've
people
read
can
it.
actually. I've gotten great feedback to say that I haven't put it when they read it. Just like I remember when I read the Randall Baskin book. I couldn't wait to keep reading and to finish it. So I've always got great feedback to say, hey, I read it and I made it this small so they can put it in their pocket. That's why it's
Yeah,
so small.
yeah. You'll have to get made your kids to read them. That will be your day of victory, I
Yes,
guess. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So work on it, work on that harder, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Troy, um, we have a ritual here on our show all the time.
Hmm.
So there is a question from my last guest I had for you,
Okay.
which I would like to put to you. The question what he had put up is, how do we stop the enmity in the world, what we are living today, good or bad, whatever it is, it's our world, our universe, we are living in it. As human beings, how can we bring peace to the world? So
Hmm.
there is a world of less enmity. What will be one your message as Troy Smith before you are leaving this world for your kids, for the younger generation. I know you have a journey ahead. It's too early to think about that, but I would like to have your thoughts on that, please.
Oh yeah, and it's not too early for that. I think about it now.
Yeah, I mean, that's very common. Yeah, I mean, after 40, when you hit 40, I think that's usually when the men start thinking about death. I mean,
yeah,
that's when it
they think
starts.
about life. They think about life in general, because I tell
Yeah,
people,
but
like,
before
I tell
that,
people
it's
this.
not. Yeah, you don't get to that before
Yeah,
40. that starts, I think.
but I tell people this right here, is that there's enough out there for everybody. Whatever that enough is, you fill in the blank. But there's enough money out there for everyone. There's enough business out there for everyone. There's enough love out there for everyone, because people think that it's only just for it to be me, 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 give it to me. And you start realizing you're competing against no one but yourself. So there's
Right.
enough out there for everyone. That's how I answer that question. The only competition you have, Darpan, as you know this already, you're a person that's in seeking of knowledge, right, and enlightenment. There's no, I'm not competing against no one but myself. How can I be a better me? Because when you start learning, I'm gonna want what you got. I don't want to go through what you got. I just want the baby. I don't want to go through the labor pains, right? So it's enough. And I've learned, what I'm learning is there's enough money out there for everyone. So look, no one can steal something that's for you.
Right.
Somebody can steal
So
something
if we have that if we come from that point of that we have enough for everybody in the world, do you think that could bring peace to the world?
Yeah, but we're humans, and humans are finicky. So one minute you think you got it and you have enough, and then you realize I don't have what Darpan has though, so I want that too. And that's why people fight. So, but if you realize that Darpan can have what he has in the UK, if I was Darpan's next door neighbor, and you know what, Darpan, you have fun, man, you enjoy that. But if I become greedy and want yours and mine,
Right.
that's how it's no longer peace. I want what you have.
And I think that this point is so good, not only for human beings on one-to-one level. This goes good between the countries also, internationally.
Yes.
Don't you think so? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we are attacking one country to another, and exploiting other continents or
Resources,
whatever it is.
everything.
Yeah. So that it's the. I mean, this. I think you're this. Once you have that thing that it's enough for us, for everybody, and leave the things at peace. I know it's very hypothetical thing. It will never happen, but at least we could ponder and elaborate on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Everybody just they want a little piece of everything. So it's not like I like my cake. My cake tastes delicious, but yours look even better. Yes. So that's why people go for people's spouses and all that other stuff too. It's like, hey, your wife look better than mine, and then you find out your wife look just as good. But hey, it just happens.
I mean, yeah, so long you are eating the cakes and the spouses is fine.
Yeah,
but hope it doesn't get that's where the problem starts, isn't it, Troy?
Yes, it is.
Troy, it has been. I'm very thankful to you, mate. You have found time, and I know you have lots of commitments, on this Saturday. Your time, and love to you and to your family.
All right. Peace and love, man. Holla at you.
Take care. Bye-bye.